Planet Vero Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Community Health. We have 8 locations to serve you better. Our staff is dedicated to help you and your family. Here's your host, Vicki Soule.
And welcome to Community Conversations. I'm always thrilled to be here. It's always nice to be able to talk to new people and senior people, or shall I say, experienced, mature people within our network of community members, and today is no exception. You know, oftentimes we will have people that have a direct impact on you in terms of providing resources or services to you. Sometimes, like today, though, we take a little backseat to those folks that work so hard behind the scenes in their professional organizations or in supporting organizations around our community, like the Chamber or the Realtors Association, or like Main Street Vero, which we've never had on the program. And so today I'm thrilled to have Joe Coakley, a good friend of mine, here today to talk about his new role as the chairman of Main Street Vero. So welcome, Joe.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you.
Well, you're no stranger to most of us around town. You've always been about and looking out for the good and welfare of all of us. So tell us a little bit about how long have you been with Main Street?
Well, I'm very happy to tell you that. Let me tell you how it all happened.
That would be great.
Being a resident of the county and not of the city, but driving through the city on a daily basis, I saw the city going in a direction that I was not personally very happy with. So I did a little research and found out who Main Street was and what their purpose was. After finding out what their purpose was,
share with us first.
The purpose? Okay. I'm happy to do that. The purpose is to look at what the downtown really is, make an evaluation of where it should be going and what it will do for the preservation of history of the city, and also how can we regenerate the looks of the city, and how we can also help at the same time with the merchants in the downtown area. And that is probably the major goals of Main Street. Okay,
so you found that out. And then, being a man of action, not complaints, what did you do with that?
Well, I said to myself, I think I should get on that board. So I reached out to the past board members and said, I'd like to have the opportunity to sit on your board, find out a little bit more, and see what I can do to possibly help with your mission. And so I did. I found myself getting on the board. And after 3 to 4 months being there, it was time for a change in the board. And I found out typically of myself heading the board. And now, as you said, you called me the chairman. I guess that's what they call me now. And here I am as chairman of the board. But the first thing I had the opportunity to do was go and present myself to the city council, of which I knew probably most of the council members. And I explained to them why I was on the board and why I wanted to be there. And I said to them, I said, look, I live in the county. I have no real rights to be here because I don't pay taxes to the city. But I love this city. I says, I see the potential, the greatness of this city. I says, there's plenty of opportunities for Main Street, Vero Beach, to participate with city government and also with all the businesses in the downtown area to enhance the beauty and make taxes a situation where the merchants in the city are getting a return on their tax dollar. And that's what I'm all about. And that's what our new and present board is all about.
And how many board members do you have?
Right now we have 6 board members. We're probably going to increase that by a couple of more in the very near future. But we have people that, if I mentioned the names, you would know the names. They're all much younger people than I am, with much more energy than I have, and they're really willing to work and do the job that's necessary for Main Street.
So out of curiosity, are any of the merchants from Main Street on the board?
At the present time, no.
Ah.
But our next board member will be.
Aha.
And we're presenting that board member at tonight's board meeting.
Oh, how awesome.
So, yes.
So if there are others in the community who feel as you did some 6 months ago, I'd like to learn more, and I'd like to engage and see what I could do to help further their mission. Could they contact you?
Yes, absolutely. I'm available 24 hours a day, and if you ask my wife, Vicki, and you know that, okay?
I absolutely do.
She'll tell you that that's the truth, because the phone never stops ringing,
Yeah.
and I do take the phone calls. So please reach out to me, good or bad. I am happy to listen to both sides of the story, and whatever we can do as a board to try to enhance the downtown, we're going to do that.
And typically, the board chair wouldn't get those calls directly. They would go to the executive director.
Correct.
You have a new executive director, so tell us about him.
Thank you for bringing that up. Let me first give kudos out to our past executive director, a lady by the name of Susan Gromas, who did such a fabulous job for approximately 3.5 years. But as we all know, okay, there comes a time when the body gives out a little bit, the brain gives out a little bit, and it's time to, and Susan wanted to spend more time with her husband, and I can't say that I blame her. So she said to me, she says, Joe, it's time for me to retire. Well, I had to scramble because I had no idea what I was going to do at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know what budgets are. We all know what executive directors should get paid, but that isn't always true.
Particularly in nonprofits.
Especially with nonprofits, okay? So I was very, very lucky and was able to put the word out on the street that I was looking. And a particular person, I can't mention her name, but she is involved in another nonprofit, and she said, I would talk to this particular person. So I reached out to that person, whose name is Matthew Haynes, and we had a couple of 3 sit-down sessions, and we talked, and I got his vision of what this job is all about and how he thought he could lead our group. Well, Matthew has a background that's very interesting. He started here in Vero Beach many, many years ago.
He did?
Yes. And he started with a little company called AOL. I'm sure some people know that name.
Some people may know that. Yes.
Okay. Anyhow, long story short, the transition was for Matthew to leave with AOL and go out to Washington, the state of Washington, and join up with Microsoft.
How about that?
And he spent many years with Microsoft, has since retired, and has now come back to Vero Beach, where his roots are. So, long story short, again, Matthew shows up and we talk to one another, and I just had this great feeling sitting and talking with him. I felt his ambition. I felt his energy. And
he's an early retiree.
He is. He's a very early retiree, okay?
Yeah.
And so consequently, I recommended him to the board. The board looked at his resume, they chatted with him, and they all agreed that he is the right person to lead Main Street, Vero Beach now.
Well, and as we walked into the studio, I asked you about the history of Main Street. And nationally, you said this goes all the way back to
1980.
80. Yeah.
Correct.
I was going to say 75.
No,
but
1980.
okay.
And there was 3 pilot programs in 1980 for Main Streets. And from that point on, it started to grow throughout the country. And hence 1998, Main Street was created in sunny Vero Beach.
So you've got a few years behind you as an organization
We
as
do.
well. Lots of changes have happened, but lots of consistency as well.
Yes.
I've always had a warm spot in my heart for Main Street because my parents had a cottage in a little Michigan town, and they too had a Main Street. They too had things like Walmart's, I don't want to say threatening, but certainly displacing the downtown area in terms of that customer service versus cheaper prices.
Right.
And so I watched them put not sea turtles, but merry-go-round figures throughout the downtown and do lots of other wonderful things. Our claim to fame, I guess, is more Downtown Vero, Downtown Fridays.
Downtown Friday is one of our claims to fame. Mm-hmm. Hibiscus Festival in the past has been another one of our claims to fame. Unfortunately, I like to say the good with the bad, okay? Unfortunately, on the Hibiscus Festival, young people, especially the young ladies, just did not seem to want to participate any longer in that kind of an activity, even though it had an opportunity for them to grab scholarship money. I asked my 16-year-old granddaughter to check for me and find out whether it was really true, whether there was an interest or not an interest. And after doing some research, she came back to me. She says, Grandpa, she says, they really want to do other things. That's not of interest to them anymore. So we had to put that on the shelf. And of course, COVID came along, and that was a real detriment to us as far as the festival was concerned. But the good news is that we're going to recreate Hibiscus Festival. And we're hoping that possibly this year that may happen. We're in the process right now of figuring some things out, and we're hoping to present that as something that the city of Vero Beach will begin to become more proud of in the future.
Oh, that sounds exciting. I was going to interrupt you because I was afraid you were going to spill the beans, but you just put it out there as a little temptation. Stay tuned. And audience, please stay tuned. We're going to have a couple words from our sponsors, and then we'll be back for more news about Main Street Vero. Treasure Coast Community Health in-house pharmacies have the lowest prices in Indian River County, even lower than big box pharmacies. Taking your medication as prescribed leads to better health. Affordable medicine makes it easier. Treasure Coast Community Health patients can pick up medicine as they leave the office or use free delivery and mail order services. Pharmacists are always available to answer questions. Switch to TCCH pharmacies. Save money, stay healthy. 772-257-8224 and ask about our price match.
Create your restful retreat and save 50% now on all Tommy Bahama and Lexington Home during our winter sale and President's Day event now through February 28th at Sunshine Furniture. Sophisticated looks with a mix of contemporary, coastal, and Caribbean styles, Tommy Bahama Home offers everything you need for your personal paradise. At Sunshine Furniture, we have the largest selection of in-stock coastal and casual sofas, love seats, chairs, slipcover sofas, bedroom, dining, and occasional furniture from Four Seasons, Capri, Best, Bark Lounger, Hooker, Universal, and more. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have anything you need for your patio or lanai, including a gallery of Lloyd Flanders, Berlin Garden, Woodard, Pollywood, Brown Jordan, Windward, and Kingsley Bate. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach next to Planet Fitness. Family owned and operated since 1991. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com and don't forget to visit our outlet and sales store directly across the street.
Sunshine Furniture.
It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
And welcome back to Community Conversations. My name is Vicki Soule, and if you're just joining us, I'm here to interview, did I say that? Have a great conversation with an old friend. I mean, a friend of many years. We're both old, so I'm not throwing stones here, Joe. Mr. Joe Coakley, who is the new leader of our Main Street Vero as chairman of the board. We just talked about your new executive director, and it regrets that Sue Gramas has retired, but we all pick our retirement at different points in our own life. There's no magic number anymore. And as you were saying, Matt comes with a lot of different experience. He's young and full of energy and ideas, and there's just something about that fresh blood coming into an organization. It's sort of a balancing act between the way it was, the way it is now, and the way we anticipate going forward. So that's always very helpful. But I wanted to ask you, Joe, because Main Street is typically thought of as, the 6 blocks total in that 14th Avenue area. Although I guess my 6 blocks includes a block up and a block east and west from that, as well as north and south. And I have to tell you, I am so thrilled that one way in front of the post office is now 2 ways. And we're seeing that there's going to be some new openings right around the corner.
Right.
So that's pretty exciting. And I'm assuming Main Street has been kind of helping that permitting process.
We're putting our best foot forward, as they say,
yes,
to help all the new merchants that are coming downtown and also those merchants that have been there for a long time.
Yeah.
We're there to answer their questions, hopefully be an intermediate type group that can help them navigate city politics, city rules and regulations, and maybe help to inform the city
of concerns.
What other cities look like and what they're doing. And I'd like to make one thing maybe clear, and I would ask any city official who's listening to this not to take this in the wrong way, but we are probably maybe 1 out of 5 throughout the nation, Main Street organizations that is not a part of the city. We are strictly on our own. Most main streets are they are a department of a city.
Well, that's interesting.
And they're funded by the city.
That makes a big difference.
Okay. And we have none of that.
I was going to ask you about the baskets. You guys in the past have put out those beautiful floral baskets, and everyone walks down the street commenting on them. And they've been in short supply over the last 18 months or so.
And there has been no maintenance whatsoever. And so I've had the opportunity to sit with many of our city council people, our city attorney, and Monty Falls, I have to say, he has been great. He's given me great guidance because there are certain things that most of us don't know until we get involved.
Right.
But there are a lot of changes. We've made some changes already. We've looked at the beds, the flower beds that were there. We've had some of them already torn out. We put new rocks in there rather than mulch. We've had new garbage containers put there, more modern, more up to date. The poles, the light poles are going to be changed out. That's being done by Florida Power and Light. And the baskets will be coming down. No longer to see those baskets, okay? A little bit different, but we have the flower pots that were in hibernation for many, many years. Those have all come back now, and they have fresh flowers in them and fresh plants. And we're even working with the Garden Fest people to hopefully, they've mentioned to us that they would like to participate with us and maintain those plants.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
Maybe even be more creative than I can be or Matt can be. So that's all stuff in the future, very near future, I hope. And
so again, I would chime in that if you're thinking about how could you help Main Street, what could you bring to it? Maybe not as a board member, but as someone who has fresh ideas about the changes that are possible, okay, with a new board, with new leadership. Again, I would reach out to Joe. And Joe, when we talked about it earlier, we didn't give them any clues how to contact you by phone or email. So can you help me out there?
I certainly can.
Okay.
Believe it or not, Main Street has a phone number and it has its own email address. But when it comes to me personally, I give out my name, my address, my phone number.
You do.
And I really want everybody to call me personally because a lot of people don't know Matt yet. And at least for maybe the next 2, 3, 4 months, I want people to call me and then I'll put them in direct contact with Matt because I want Matt to learn who these people are so that he's not maybe blindsided. There's nothing worse than having a new person come on board and then all of a sudden get blindsided by several people out there in the community. So
who may have been told no to a particular idea in the past.
So my name again is Joe Coakley. My telephone number is 772-559-2680. And you can reach me at Joe, J-O-E, Coke, C-O-K-E, 43 at yahoo.com.
Okay. Anytime. I believe people will do that, Joe, because you're so warm and open to suggestions, and you're a great collaborator putting things together. So I'm very happy that you're there, and helping Matt and leading us in a direction that maybe we haven't been before. One of the things that I'd heard was a rumor that you had gotten more involved off of Main Street, under the auspices, though, of Main Street. Piper, for example, is nowhere near 14th Avenue. It's quite a ways that way.
Well, Vicki, I have to be perfectly honest. I got extremely lucky. As they say, sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. And I happened to go to a school district meeting.
Okay.
And at that particular meeting, I was able to meet two people from Piper Aircraft. Huh. And the one young lady that I met there was the director of HR. Her name is Kathleen Pagani. And we had struck up a conversation. And I said, I'd like to have you come to lunch with me someday. Let's have a chat. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about Main Street and who we are, and see if there's any interest on the part of Piper in participating with us. So we did go to lunch, and we had a great conversation. I saw the excitement on her face, and I saw the energy in her hands and her body saying, yes, I want to be involved. So I took that with a little bit of a grain of salt, because I've heard yeses before, and,
we all have.
and they didn't happen.
Especially over lunch.
Right, exactly, and they didn't happen. But anyhow, Kathleen was great. She called me back in 2 days and said, yes, we definitely want to be involved. We would like to participate in Downtown Friday. Please tell us how we do it. We made all those arrangements with her. And our last good Downtown Friday, they were there for the first time. And they were excited. I got a review from her on Sunday, the following Sunday. She said to me, she said, Joe, this was so exciting. We are so happy to participate. We want to be there more.
That's wonderful.
So
it's a great way for people to hear more about the Piper organization, how they hire, how they train, tours that they give, all of those types of things. It's, again, another landmark of Vero Beach, Piper Industries.
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful.
So it was a great opportunity for us, and hopefully it'll be a great opportunity for them, because they're looking for employees like most people are in business, and it gives them an opportunity to be out there and talk with folks about opportunities at Piper.
So you mentioned the school district. Are you doing something new with them?
Well, I invited Dr. Moore to participate in Downtown Friday approximately 6 months ago, and he thought it was a great idea. And the next thing I knew, I was getting a phone call, and they said yes, and all of a sudden, here they are. Give us a spot. We want a spot. And that's what we did. And they've been there approximately 6 months now, with different schools showing up on a particular Friday. They were there with, let's say, Oslo Middle School and whatnot, or Treasure Coast, whatever. And they show up. They bring their kids with them. They bring opportunities with them. And they are there to associate with families.
So again, Main Street has become like a showcase for the entire community.
Correct.
That's wonderful.
And the one thing I'd like to maybe make the comment on
in the next 1 minute.
Okay, in the next 1 minute, is that Main Street and Downtown Friday is a family organization. We really want it to be family oriented. Yes, it is about merchandising product for lots of vendors, but it's also to bring the right people downtown to come together to have a good time in our wonderful city of Vero Beach.
That's absolutely what I see out there on those Fridays, along with the dogs and an occasional llama.
Yes, I remember the llama.
There's always something new and exciting going on Downtown Fridays, the last Friday of every month.
Yes, correct.
Starts before dusk. There's food vendors out there, so mark your calendars. Come see Joe. He's out there as well as many others. And again, thank you for being with us to the very end of the show. I hope that you pass this on to others through your Facebook or through just a nice verbal, did you know? And we'll see you next week.